the top half of this league for sure is elite. And when you talk about those programs, the challenge is if you're going to go up, who's going to go down? And you have to kind of force your way into that discussion.
Good start for Carolina. Maria Miggins, graduate student, transfer from High Point, picks up the opening point for the Tar Heels.
That's one thing studying film, Matt. I think an Achilles heel for Florida State is maybe their right side defense. So I would anticipate seeing a heavy volume of right side attacks from the Tar Heels.
Off-speed shot from Schaffmaster, kept alive. Miggins deflects it over and out, and Florida State evens us up at 1.
Defense is going to be the name of the game today. Both of these teams have some offensive weapons and can produce points. But if you look at statistically where they've been in the conference, North Carolina really needs to pick up their backcourt defense, their net presence and blocking to try to slow down the offense of Florida State. The last time they played each other, Matt, Florida State outdug them by almost 20, which was a big reason why they were successful in that sweep.
Yeah, 46 digs for the Seminoles in that September matchup. 3 different players, double digits in digs. Carolina had more opportunities that match, but yet Florida State was the more efficient team, and that's why they walked away with the sweep.
100%. If you can have your team hitting percentage above 300, that's pretty tough. That's going to make it really difficult on your opponent's defense. We'll see if Florida State can stay in that same level today, but the Tar Heels have something to say about it.
Just inside the back line, Corey Lewis picks up the kill for Florida State. Junior middle from Tallahassee. Leads the ACC in hitting percentage at .444. That's 3rd in all of Division I.
And already we're seeing some good offensive diversity from both sides. I love Florida State getting their middles involved.
Schaffmaster off the block to put Carolina back on top. Neither team able to establish a run. We've been trading points early.
Yeah, and it didn't take long for us to call Schaffmaster's name. We know we want to get her in a rhythm early if you're a Tar Heel fan. I'm curious to see how Sadie Swift plays from the middle blocker position. She just rotated in, and she leads the team in blocks, and she can be a defensive dynamo from the blocking standpoint, and they're going to need her to get positive touches today.
First time Carolina has a 2-point lead today, and you mentioned Sadie Swift, a player who saw limited action as a freshman a year ago, especially with Kaya Merkler unavailable yet again, as we may have a challenge here. Chris Poole with a discussion. Our down official.
Aubrey Koenig, after she hit that ball, she immediately felt like there was a touch. She's talking with her coaching staff, trying to sway them to challenge for a touch. Looks like she succeeded.
So we will have our first challenge. College volleyball, each team receives 2 video challenges. If you are successful, you get to keep it. And this is a risk for Florida State to challenge this early in the match.
Well, they're seeing how things are flowing, and as we get a few replay looks at this, in this match, when you're going for a conference championship, that automatic bid, you don't want anything to fall to chance. And Carolina's got that little bit of a lead here. They're trying to set a little bit of a tone. So every little point, I think, matters until you get that lead and a little bit of cushion.
What'd you see there on the replay?
It's tough to see anything definitive from that. Maybe a micro touch. You look to see, are the fingers bending back at all? Was there a difference in the spin on the ball that maybe it came into contact with a blocker? Sometimes it's very clear. Other times it's not as much. It is important to point out that in many of these cases, the officials have access to other angles that they can see that we don't from the broadcast perspective. But we've got a good officiating crew here today, a very experienced one. I think that they're going to look at this and get it right.
And it's worth noting that you need indisputable video evidence that the call on the court is incorrect to overturn it.
Yep. Another look at it here. That ball looked in, Matt.
That was my thought, Corey, is that when you look at it from this perspective, okay, first let's see if there's a touch here. Maybe, but then, is this ball in?
I believe so. The lines judge was right on it. And from that angle, boy, Matt, the first angle we saw, I would have said yes. It looked pretty definitive to me. The second angle, that's a third look. Now, one thing to keep in mind is only part of the ball needs to touch part of the line.
Right.
Okay? It doesn't need to be fully inside the line. And when the ball hits the floor, it compresses. It kind of, you know, bows out a little bit as it hits the floor. So if any part of that ball contacts any part of the line, then it's in. Based on those angles that we were seeing from our vantage point, it looked in to me. I think I didn't see anything definitive there, Matt, that would say it was definitely out. I'll put it that way.
Right. But the call on the court is that the ball is out.
Correct.
So you need the definitive evidence that the ball is in. And that's where we may be grasping at some straws here, potentially.
And no doubt the reason that this is taking a little bit longer. But this also serves as kind of that pseudo timeout. So, you know, whether the call goes the Seminoles' way or not, Coach Poole is accomplishing slowing down a little momentum with this challenge. You know, maybe refocus his team a bit, see if they can side out quickly and get on a mini run themselves.
Well, the officials now seem to have reached a verdict. But awaiting the announcement and the point to Florida State. And the signal, Corey, was that the ball was touched. It was not an in and out. So it was determined that it grazed the fingertips of Sadie Swift.
And when Koenig first motioned to the bench, that's what I thought she was suggesting, that she saw a touch. When you've got the great equalizer in Shaftmaster, man, that's a short-lived win of the challenge. Man, look at the elevation, just the shoulder load, how fast and how heavy she hits the ball to you. You better be ready on defense when she's attacking.
Beautiful touch shot from the junior out of Indiana. Powerful serve, nearly an overpass, turns out to be one. And Carolina receives the point. Florida State was in the net.
That back row block. You know, when you've got a 6-2 offense like Florida State, you always have a back row setter. She cannot contact the ball above the level of the net and have it carry over, or have a blocker contact it then after her contact. So, you know, there's a couple things you could argue here. Was she trying to set the ball? Was it an overcall for the blocker? But the fact that she turned and faced the blocker, even though she didn't leave the ground, if her fingers are above the level of the net, that's a back row attack illegally.
Set from Draskovic, good block by Carolina, and the Tar Heels on a 3-0 run. Carolina ready there for the swing from Audrey Koenig, and the Tar Heels put up the wall.
Just look at the blocking technique. They're swift. If you want to be a good blocker, Matt, you have to start with great footwork. You've got to line up and time your press. Great technique there.
Mari Roby, 25 in white in the front row, is the middle now, and the Seminoles side out.
Still good block touches there early in the middle. You know, if you can get positive deflections, positive touches from your blockers and extend rallies, that just eases a lot of things for your backcourt defense.
So look at Audrey Koenig. They call her AK. Junior from Wesley Chapel, Florida, is Kenna Phelan, the other setter in Florida State's 6-2 system, will serve. Sophie Hampton, the freshman, guides it over and out of play.
Now, that's one thing you have to watch. Errors are part of our game, Matt, but you don't want to give bad unforced errors in bad moments. You know, if you can't get a good quality swing, let's keep that ball in play. Trust our defense.
And errors the Achilles heel of the Tar Heels last time these two met. 17 hitting errors in 3 sets.
Yeah, that's not going to get it done.
Here's Hampton again. Philomoa had the dig. Shaftmaster. Hampton once more.
And I love that shot, Matt. She didn't get a good hand contact on her first attempt in that rally, but better rhythm, better connection on the second one, and tooling the block. Great vision from 22.
Safi Hampton, a freshman from Jessup, Maryland. So increased playing time as her first year in Carolina Blue goes along. Mike Shaw had so much praise for his freshman group, including Sydney Nolan with the monster stuff.
Wow, so far the net presence from the Tar Heels has created a little separation for them here. And you know, with the offense that the Seminoles present, you have to be good defensively, and it starts with the block. Great job by the Tar Heels here early in set one.
Zoe Barron's another freshman with the set, and then the Florida State block answers right back.
Yeah, well said, Matt. These are two teams that have the kinds of athletes that they can go toe-to-toe and have that net battle. So if you're out of system, if you're off the net a little bit, you better be smart in how you're going at the block.
And our first ace of the contest belongs to FSU. They pull back within one. Koenig serves it up.
Looked like just a little bit of miscommunication there or hesitation. That was a great serve.
Schaffmaster. Barrett back set. And Romani Thurman is turned aside, but picks up the point as it bounces out of bounds.
Absolutely love that shot. If you're facing a team that has good length and good net presence, you have to have a lot of different ways that you go at them. And one is wiping the block. You just kind of have that fast push, right? And just wipe the outside hand. Great shot.
Nita Babic into the match to serve. And the overpass. I believe FSU is in the net again.
Another back row attack. So,
okay.
You know, if you're a tight to the net setter, or the ball's pushing you tight to the net rather, and your back row, you have to do everything you can to save it. And sometimes the ball carries over like it did there.
A barrow bump set from May. Hampton able to turn it into a kill.
Boy, those are the kind of shots that you want to see when you're out of system. High percentage, still assertive. You're going for the deep perimeter of the court. Give yourself some margin for error. Great shot by Hampton.
So Babic will continue to serve with the Tar Heels, holding their largest lead, and right on cue, she puts it in the net. Service error allows FSU to side out.
I really like what the serving plan is for the Tar Heels, because we're seeing different types of serves to try to keep the serve receive of Florida State off balance. We've seen the jump topspin from Schaffmaster that's like a rocket. We've seen a couple of short serve attempts there as well. So obviously the Tar Heels, Matt, came into this match thinking we want to mix up our serves and present different types of serves.
Soaring Saffie Hampton.
I like it. Let's get the t-shirts in the bookstore right now.
Soaring Saffie, Hampton's hops.
Yeah, I like it all. Get a whole line.
Oh, Schaffmaster denied.
Boy, and what a great reach and read by Sydney Conley. She reaches outside her body a little bit. She's a little late with her feet, but just had the core body strength and the good reach to redirect that ball.
Jelia Draskovic, FSU's other setter, back in the proceedings. Schaffmaster sends it heavy, but got a touch. And the Tar Heels side out.
And you love seeing back-to-back opportunities. If you're a setter and you have a hitter that can execute and can terminate, and she gets blocked or has a hitting error, let's go right back to her. Let's make sure we keep her in a good rhythm. Good decision there.
You saw the hit percentage number. Carolina has 10 kills already to FSU's 3. Swift setting the middle, dug up. Audrey Rothman. May's got to get it over, free ball. And FSU capitalizes. Big swing from Maddie Snyder.
The power of the headband, gotta love it. You know, Schaffmaster was diving way inside on her block. I think she anticipated that set to go to the middle and just left that net too wide open there. Easy jump and score for Snyder.
Rothman to serve. Missed 5 matches due to injury earlier on.
Well, we're seeing a lot of scrappy play here early, Matt, and in a match like this, both teams can terminate. Both teams have good blockers, good backcourt defenders, good liberos and such, good setting. So it's going to come down to these broken plays and kind of who can have a little bit better ball control in those moments.
phrase Mike Shaw used was capitalize on opportunities against a good team like Florida State.
100%.
Snyder once again off the block. Schaffmaster. Thurman will take a swing. Did she get a touch? No, she did not. Point FSU.
It's got a little too far underneath that ball. If the ball's above your shoulder and not in front of your shoulder, you need to take some off. Otherwise, if you full swing from that position, it's probably going to go long.
Villamoa to serve. Brought in as an outside hitter, taking over the libero duties. Schaffmaster wide of the line. FSU back within 2.
This is a little area here where the Tar Heels need to be careful. You're going to have some hitting errors, especially if you want to be assertive, but you don't want them to come in bunches. And so far, they've had back-to-back.
As we said, 17 of them the last meeting between these two. Hampton sides out and pushes the Tar Heel lead to 3. As we reach our 100 mark in non-conference play, we'll win the ACC's regular season title and automatic berth to the NCAA tournament, Corey.
It's pretty amazing. When you schedule your preseason, you want to schedule tough to prepare your team, maybe pad a little RPI points, but to be in full control of that automatic bid at this point in the season down the stretch, when you have teams like Pitt and Louisville and NC State and the stiff competition, says a lot for the resiliency of the Seminoles.
And FSU is in the position where if they win out, even if they're tied with Pitt, they'd get the auto bid because Florida State beat Pitt in 5 sets in their lone meeting of the year in Tallahassee early November. So they have the tiebreaker. We mentioned it. Chris Poole's team was 6-6 when they started ACC play September the 22nd. Coach Poole himself missed 5 matches of the non-league portion of the schedule. He had COVID. Meanwhile, he was trying to figure out his libero situation after Emery Dupes went down. And all of that concoction put together had FSU at 6-6, looking like a bit of an afterthought. Since then, things have completely flipped.
And you have to credit the staff and the players for digging deep, reassessing, coming together at the right time, having things kind of flow and gel. And now you're in this position that you've earned. You can't control what other teams do. You can't control other teams' wins and losses. But when you have the opportunity and you can control it, you got to seize that. And I think they are.
Marissa Meyerhofer serving for the Tar Heels, back up by 3 here in this first set. And a cross-court shot from Audrey Koenig pulls Florida State within 2.
It's really impressive, Matt, the range of attacks we've seen so far. We've seen wipe shots, off speed, sharp cross, line, tool shots. Both teams are challenging the opponent to defend all 900 square feet of the court.
Carolina trying to capitalize on a free ball, and Schaffmaster with a rocket.
Yeah, I think that showed up on the airport radar down the road here. That was a missile. And that's what she can bring. If you have long rallies and her being that 6 rotation attacker, you don't necessarily even have to be in system to get her the ball. Boy, just heavy stuff.
Anita Babick serving for the Tar Heels. May with the dig, overpass, and punched down for a kill by FSU. That's Kiari Roby, the Oregon transfer. First season in Tallahassee. Babick, bump set for Safi Hampton, who gets up again. And looks like FSU was in the net. Second time this first set that Florida State's been called for a net violation.
Yeah, in matches that are this tight as this one's presenting right now in set 1, it's going to come down to those little things. And we've seen a few unforced errors from both teams. So whoever can play a little bit cleaner is going to have the edge here down the stretch.
Carolina out of system. Audrey Rothman back within 2. Florida State can get it to within 2, and then Carolina's had answers pretty much the duration of this set.
100%. You look at, if it's a side-out battle for the rest of the way, I think the Tar Heels will take that, right? They've got that margin. But what has been effective? What do you want to slow down or attack from the other side of the net is the focus in the here and now. I love that Tar Heels are setting their middles more. I think that can bear fruit. Keep running the middle if you can.
Schaffmaster from the outside. Back set. Snyder just inside the back line.
And so far, the longer the rally goes, you've seen both teams have success in finishing long rallies, but if Shaftmaster is dug or blocked, I think then the rally starts to favor Florida State.
Why is that?
Because if you're used to somebody scoring kind of easily, which Shaftmaster can, then maybe you're not getting all of your options in transition. You know, the block for Florida State is already set up against her, so it makes it a little bit easier for them to defend, right, what you're presenting. So if we can get a little more balance if you're the Tar Heels, I think that can bode well.
Well, Florida State has taken what was a 3-point deficit, and on this 3-0 run, they've evened things up at 18, forcing.
Are scoring in different ways, and man, they just make it such a tough out if you're going to play the Seminoles at this point. You know, and for the Tar Heels, I love what we said at the Open, Matt. They want to play spoiler. They can control a little bit of what happens in the top half of the standings just by really taking it to the opponents, seeing if they can get an upset or two, and finish the season strong.
Well, Carolina knocked off Wake Forest on the road last week, a reverse sweep of the Demon Deacons. It started a little downturn for Randy Smart's team and likely has them on the outside looking in for the NCAA tournament discussion. So Carolina already familiar with playing spoiler down the stretch this year. Sydney Nolan, the freshman, and Carolina sides out of the timeout.
You have to love when a team runs transition middle, because that is your quickest and best opportunity to score in transition, and it makes your middles work hard. You have to have the ball control to be able to do that, but I would look for North Carolina to get their middles more involved in transition and take a little bit more pressure off of Shaftmaster.
Back to the outside end, Shaftmaster. Mabry picks up the cross-court kill to put the Tar Heels back up by 2.
Or you can do both, right?
Why not?
Yeah, we'll let everybody get a little bit, you know.
Now Florida State calls for time. It's the called timeout for the Tar
at the beginning of the season. And one thing that's interesting to point out right now, some of our viewers may not be aware that of the 8 losses that Florida State has on the season, 6 of them, they lost the first set. So if they lose the first set here, statistically, that's not setting them up in a direction they want to go. I think they really want to come back and win this first set here.
Maddie May, a low serve. Back set for Snyder, touched by Shaftmaster, out of play. Florida State, just like the Tar Heels moments ago, comes out of the timeout and earns a quick side out.
Yeah, they ran Snyder inside there, which we haven't seen yet so far in the match. Shaftmaster made a good read, just couldn't quite get the block.
So Rothman will serve. Babick, back set for Maria Miggins, cross court.
Boy, what a shot by Miggins. And again, we're seeing success on the right side. I don't think either team can get, you know, tunnel vision where they're setting the same position or same part of the net exclusively, but can the Tar Heels mix in a little bit more right side? Because so far I think their right sides combined are hitting close to 700.
Maria Miggins, 4 kills on 5 swings so far. That's a 600 clip with 1 error.
Good touch.
Back to the right side. It's Romani Thurman. It goes off speed, catches Florida State unprepared, and the Tar Heels closing in on a set win.
Wow. I don't know if Thurman thought this deeply about it, but you know, we saw Snyder fall down earlier in that rally, and sometimes as an attacker, if you see someone fall down on defense, you go right back to that zone and make them recover. But either way, it scored. Good shot by Thurman.
Koenig blocked.
What a time for a stuff block. The Tar Heels can see the finish line here in set 1 right now.
So North Carolina in front by 4, threatening to take a set from the number 25 team in the nation. And Mabry Shaftmaster already with 5 kills on 12 swings.
She has done it all year long where she can score offensively. She's made a couple good defensive plays at the net. She's got block assist, and you know, she's very active in her net play. And you just see what she brings. She's the ultimate equalizer for the Tar Heels. No shot. It's going to bear fruit down the road. And oh, by the way, Shaftmaster's still got some eligibility left. So I think the future is bright for the Tar Heels.
Yeah, I look out on the floor right now, and Schaffmaster is joined by 5 underclassmen players, only one of whom played significant time last year, and that's the libero, Maddie May. Here's Schaffmaster. Carolina within 1.
Oh, yeah, it's definitely in their hand right now if they can close this out. It's been so impressive, Matt, the range of shots and how Carolina has been able to score against this Seminole defense. Great dig.
Schaffmaster. Set Carolina. Tar Heels wanted to finish the season strong. They're a third of the way. Time in 4 seasons. Tar Heels to serve to start the second set. Anita Babick will put the ball in play. Bump set to the outside for Audrey Koenig. Read well by Hampton. Schaffmaster from the back row.
Well, I was very curious, Matt, how Florida State would come out here in set 2. How would they respond after dropping set 1? And, you know, right away they're out of system. They didn't get a quality swing on a tight set. That fueled some transition offense for the Tar Heels. We'll see if they can cut. Well, they answered that question. I was just going to say, we'll see if they can respond now. And with the length of the front line of Florida State and the athleticism, you just have to feel that this is going to be a back and forth affair the rest of the afternoon.
Carolina's hitting number up over 400 in the first set, and the Tar Heels side out Sydney Nolan.
And I love that, again, the diversity. Everyone knows about Schaffmaster. People know about Foster. They know about Thurman. They know about kind of the usual suspects. But, you know, in the matches that we've seen from North Carolina this year, there hasn't been a ton of great balance. We'll put it that way. And if they can have balance in this match, then you open things up for Schaffmaster and Thurman and your pin hitters. So great job so far offensively of the Tar Heels with good offensive balance.
We saw Nolan getting involved on the defensive ends. Third block of the match. Check that 4th for North Carolina. Roby from the middle.
Oh,
Did
wow.
she get it in? Yes.
What an angle, man. I don't know that you can really defend that. There's certain areas of the court where you tell your defenders, hey, if they can hit that shot consistently, you just tip your hat, right? That's a low percentage shot, but she nailed it there. Great stuff from 25.
Impressive swing from a player who was recruited late in her high school career out of the Atlanta area.
Yep, definitely under the radar as more than most coming out of high school, but boy, she was made up for it in a hurry.
Carolina with a quick answer.
I've been a little surprised of the blocking of Florida State, that there have been a few seams, a few tools that are a little bit uncharacteristic of their blockers.
Pancake dig. And from the back row, Hampton got it in.
Is North Carolina hitting 1,000 from the back row so far? I think they've got to be close with that big set. Oh, man. And the longer the rally goes, if you've got that outlet that can score.
Carolina up 6-1. Florida State calling for a point advantage and forced Florida State to take a timeout early on in this second set. A Seminoles team that a win today and a win on Saturday gives them the ACC's automatic berth to the NCAA tournament, finding themselves in some trouble here.
How will they respond being in this spot? Great serve right there from the Tar Heels. You know, if you can have service pressure, if you can transition, swing for kills, play great defense, that puts all of the pressure on your opponent in every phase. And so far, North Carolina's doing that.
Have to imagine Chris Poole did not draw up getting aced out of his timeout. Florida State finally does side out with their second point of the set.
Taking inventory of where we are right now in the match, the challenge is twofold. Can Florida State get a mini run to tie this back up and regain some momentum? But then can North Carolina keep their momentum that they've built so far?
It'll be Kenna Phelan, freshman from Fayetteville, Arkansas, to serve. Miggins has been strong from the right side. And Nolan punches it home.
Yeah, kind of that rare ball control miss off a high tip. You want to take care of that dig quality, given the easy overpass for Nolan.
So now Carolina right back up by 6. Their young players playing very well today. Roby out of the middle. Doesn't try the sideline. Instead brings the Thunder to the backcourt.
And that's something we haven't seen for a good while. If Florida State can win the first contact, be in system out of serve receive, that's when they're tough. They've got all their options.
High set for Schaffmaster, off the block for a point.
Yeah, most of the attacks that are tools off the block are coming at the pins, and everyone knows in that situation that the ball's going out to number 9, so I'm a little surprised. I mean, she's a great player, but I'm a little surprised she's getting that much off the block of Florida State. Boy, scrappy defense from Florida State there.
Schaffmaster again, this time dug up. Rothman gliding in. Did she earn a touch? Let's see. Yes, it seems. Or was Carolina in the net?
It looked like a net call.
Okay.
R2 signaled net and number of the players, so we'll get a look at it here.
Oh, yep, there you go.
Thurman just grazed it with her forearm. Back
Low
row.
serve got the Tar Heels out of system. Service pressure from the Seminoles there.
Yeah, and we've seen that at times from both teams. Whichever team can apply service pressure more consistently is probably going to have the upper hand for the match as a whole.
Talked about Roby's skills at the service line. And the Tar Heels get her off the service line from Sadie Swift's middle attack.
What an impressive swing from Swift against a very imposing double block. The left front blocker crashed in there, but she snuck it through.
So now Mabry Schaffmaster with her high top spin hammer, and it sails long for an FSU point. So Florida State has cut what was 5 down to 4. They haven't been able to make a serious dent in the deficit. That's probably right where North Carolina wants it after the quick start to set number 2.
For sure, they love being in this position. If you're North Carolina, it's just about managing your unforced errors. You don't have to play perfect, but you want to keep the pressure on North Carolina by not giving them anything easy.
Schaffmaster, there's an error there. Carolina was hitting 410 after the first set. That number continues to be right around 450 or so.
Again, Matt, how many of these kills are tooling the block? So for Florida State, that's one area they need to focus on, is cleaning up their block a little bit.
Swift had the dig, but sails off her hands and out of play.
Such a tough task to defend a middle and serve receive that's up into the ball as fast. That's just a rocket coming at you.
So Audrey Rothman to serve now.
Another tight ball. Great hustle by May.
Maddie May tried to keep it alive, but ultimately the touch by Maddie Snyder pulls FSU within 3.
Yeah, both teams have, you know, when there's been service pressure, they pass the ball a little bit tight to the net, maybe have a little more margin for error. Maybe aim for the 5 to 10 foot line, give your setter a better chance.
Hampton. Behrens. Out of the middle, Nolan dug up this time. Joust at the net. Villanova bump set to Koenig. Turn back, FSU ready. Snyder from the right side.
She looked like a little bit off balance there, Matt, and had to kind of duck to make sure that she didn't contact the ball again. But credit the body control there from Snyder, and really just the variance in offense and transition. We're seeing everyone get involved.
Headband paying dividends, huh?
For sure. If you wear that, you better back it up, right?
Carolina sides out, pushes the lead back to 3.
And I love that shot. When you're facing a team that runs a 6-2 offense, that means there's always a back row setter and right back. And if you can attack the ball to the back row setter, you make them very one-dimensional in transition. Great coverage.
Hampton up high again. Florida State's had more answers for Safi Hampton set 2 than they did in set 1.
100%. And when you start thinking about trends, you want to stop the hot hitter now. And both teams in their timeouts and during the break between sets 1 and 2 identified, hey, here's who's beating us now. Let's make a little adjustment and make sure we're shading her with our block. But really, Matt, both teams are showing pretty good balance offensively. So, except maybe Shaftmaster, I don't know that you know, there's more than one other player you want to really key on that much at this point.
Yeah, FSU being led in kills by Snyder with 6, and the Tar Heels answering Florida State's mini run with a run of their own. Back-to-back 3-0 scoring runs, 1 for FSU, 1 for Carolina, and the Tar Heels right back up by 5.
If North Carolina can continue to win the long rally, then they're going to have a leg up.
Service error hands it right back to the Seminoles.
But you know, that error, Matt, is okay with me because you want to stay assertive in this moment. You're not going to ease to a set 2 win. So you're going to, if you're going to be assertive, you're going to have a few what we call good misses. Top of the tape, just a little long. I'm okay with that.
Most coaches are, right?
Sure. If you're going to tell your team to be assertive, you have to have their back when they make assertive errors.
Shaftmaster from the back row off the block for a Carolina point.
So far, the Seminoles have had no answer for the back row attack of the Tar Heels. That has been a real weapon. And again, you don't have to be in system to run it when you've got Shaftmaster and Hampton back there hitting as they are. Really good rhythm. Their point scoring when you're not in system. A lot of pressure on the Seminole defense.
So defensively, what do you want to see from Florida State to have answers for that?
There's a couple of things. One, if you're going to block the back row attack, which a lot of teams do, some don't, but if you're going to block it, your timing has to be there, and there has to be a clear correlation with your backcourt of what you're taking away with your block, so your backcourt defenders can line up properly around it. And I think some of these are tools going through the block. That's number one. We haven't seen too many that are just clean to the floor. So I'll go back to an earlier point, Matt. I think Florida State, the number one thing, dogfight. And it's really going to test your mettle and your mindset. How do you come out of this timeout? You're not going to get everything back in one swing. So let's have a patient yet assertive mentality.
So FSU out of timeouts, down 6. Villamoa will set up Koenig. Koenig just inside and also got a touch.
Just the length. She is hitting at such a high level, going over the block. It's very difficult to defend when you're hitting at that level above the net.
Feeling the freshman setter in this 6-2 system. Puts the ball up. Babick. Miggins. Back for Koenig. Goes off speed. Ready for it. And Carolina, another opportunity punched home.
And we've seen a couple of plays, hasn't been a ton, but 3 or 4 plays now from Florida State where there's been kind of a, you know, a deflection play in the front court, or kind of, you know, a hop and pop deal where their ball control is just given an overpass opportunity. Great dig, Babick.
Shaftmaster kept alive, but a free ball. Miggins turned aside by Koenig.
Yeah, that ball was set a little bit tight, kind of trapped the hitter there. But again, you're seeing anything that's in the front third of the court for the Seminole defense. If you're tipping or rolling a ball in the front third, they're not handling that very well. So we're seeing overpasses, over digs. That's one area that they need to clean up. The angle, just Shaftmaster is so difficult to defend because you have to defend her as a total team. She doesn't hit the same shots. She doesn't really have, you know, one tendency that you can hone in on. So everybody's got to be ready.
Hitting nearly 500. Only player for either team with double-digit kills so far. Now Shaftmaster and the Tar Heels in front by 6.
point scoring opportunity coming to Florida State.
It touched the scoreboard, and since it touched Carolina last, that's deemed out of play. There's that beautiful new video board in Carmichael Arena, replaced prior to the start of the season. Barrett sets up Sadie Swift. Carolina setting the middle again, this time Florida State with an answer. To Schaffmaster. Oh, kill number 12.
Well, the vision of Schaffmaster is just elite. She had a seam, you know, Swift transitioned and held that middle, so she had her pick of a couple different ways she could have scored, elected to go off the hands. High aggressive shot from number 9.
Audrey Rothman off the block. Carolina keeps it alive. Hampton will get a swing on it. May bumps it for Thurman. Conley. Great pancake from Maddie May.
Oh, the double contact. Oh, I'm sure Mabry wants that one back. Now, you work so hard on defense, you extend the rally. It was really anyone's game in there. Both teams had good looks in transition. You hate 14 with a ball control error, but you know, that's the kind of work both teams are going to have to put in, especially the one who's going to be victorious when the dust settles.
Draskovic. Hampton.
May just took a shot.
Corey Lewis had the attack. May was ready for it. Maddie May lays out, trying to keep another one alive, but Florida State earns the point.
Yeah, just a great shot, going to that deep 5-6 seam in the court. Both teams are covering well. Both teams are having positive deflections. Florida State, actually, Matt, is doing better with their blocking. How many times are they denying the ball here in the last few rallies?
It's been a definite improvement for FSU as this match has gone along. Thurman dug up by Philomoa. The former outside hitter turned libero. Does result in the free ball, though. Hampton, there's the FSU block.
Boy, you have to give that point to Philomoa, because when you look at Thurman being one-on-none on the net and just, you know, having to block with no, or dig with no block in front of you, she stood in there and took it and gave her team a transition kill opportunity, which they capitalized on.
Draskovic continues to serve.
Great pass.
Schaffmaster, the back row, continues to be Carolina's best offensive threat today.
That has been their trump card in the match. So far, Florida State has had no answer for the big attack. You see the block shading in, Snyder coming in to try to double block, but just a huge area of the court for Philomoa to fill, and boy, tough stuff.
Marissa Meyerhofer in to serve for the Tar Heels as Carolina can sense another set win approaching, and results in a Carolina point. So Marissa Meyerhofer in to serve. Doesn't play a ton for Carolina, but we asked Mike Schall about who some of the standout stories on his team are, and Meyerhofer was one that he pointed to. She's recently been accepted for 3 internships, expecting to receive a 4th offer, and trying to decide what she's going to do next summer. Standout student in Carolina's prestigious Keenan Flagler Business School.
Well, and someone that Coach Shaw said is a real leader on this team, and what she brings with her work ethic, and you know, she plays by example. She's someone that the rest of her teammates can look to and lean on in that role, and you have to have that on successful teams.
A junior on a team that has so many freshman players. Audrey Rothman, the sophomore from Birmingham, Alabama. All ACC rookie team a year ago. Nolan, Carolina with the quick side out. Was just thinking Florida State probably needed a run right there.
Yep.
To create some pressure in this set. They don't get it. Nolan and the young Tar Heels answered the call.
How impressive have the Tar Heels been today on this stage, in this moment at home, with just the youth in their lineup? I've been really impressed with these young players. Oh, wow. So here's the question here. You know, I think both teams have an argument. The point went to Carolina for a back row attack or back row block, but if the ball did not break the plane, you have an argument that it's an overcall, that you block the set. And that one looked pretty close to me, Matt.
And Anita Babick serves up an ace. The Tar Heels a point away from going up 2 sets.
How the rare reception error from Philomoa just didn't quite take her feet one more step, and she realizes the position that's put her team in. Down 7 set points here.
Babick.
Great pass.
Corey Lewis keeps the Noles alive.
It's not rocket science for Florida State. It's, can you be a little cleaner with your block? Can you pass a little bit better? Because when they've been in system, that's when they've had success. They just need to really focus on that for the rest of this match.
Koenig. Bump set May. Hampton off the block, and another set point staved off by FSU.
And that's check-in box number 1 we just mentioned. Their block has gotten better as this set has gone on. You might not come back and win this set, but at the very least, Matt, you want to have good momentum going into set 3.
Miggins. Maria Miggins ends set number 2. Corey, I don't think many people saw this one coming. North Carolina, like Wake Forest, falling out of the race.
Yeah, there's a few things that the committee looks at if you're on the bubble. You know, we used to say in all the years I was coaching that if you're in the top 50, you're probably safe. If you're maybe in that 50 to 54 range, that can get a little squirrely. But how are you finishing the season? Are you trending hot? Or have you had a couple of, you know, maybe bad losses down the stretch?
And in Wake Forest's case, unfortunately for the Demon Deacons, they are trending in the wrong direction. Florida State, for the first time today, scoring the first point of a set. Maddie Snyder from the right side, inside the back line. FSU goes up 2.
And that's what you wanted to do coming out of the break. Let's establish ourselves. Let's get a lead here, try to get more momentum and put the pressure back on North Carolina.
Philomoa dug up by Schaffmaster. Miggins off speed. Now Philomoa on the defensive end. Great dig by her. Back to Snyder for point number 3. Dream start for FSU.
And you're seeing just a little bit more swagger, and FSU needed that. When you're on the road, you're down 0-2 to a quality opponent. You have to manufacture a little bit of swag, a little bit of energy, and you have to celebrate those little things and try to pump some of that positive juice back into it, and we're seeing that so far.
Babick. Nolan, Carolina's first point of the set.
When North Carolina has had the opportunities to run their middle, I think they've run it very smartly. They're running it in the middle of the net, which usually means you have some seams. You're going to be one-on-one most of the time, but just the angles we're seeing some from Swift and Nolan have been impressive.
Combined 17 attacks for that duo so far. Nolan with 13 of those 17. Snyder out of play. Carolina back within 1. So North Carolina with an answer after Florida State scored the first 3 of this set. And North Carolina fans, close your ears here, but the Tar Heels have been reverse swept at home on a Sunday twice this season. Sydney Nolan trying to make sure that doesn't happen for a 3rd time.
Yeah, I think I'd close my ears on that if I was a Tar Heel fan as well. No team likes that stat, but something's got to give here because North Carolina is on top. They're in the catbird seat right now, up 2-0. But like you said, Matt, they've been reverse swept in the past, so that has been a little bit of an Achilles heel. If you're Florida State, you've been down, every time you've been down 0-2 this year, you've lost that match. And so they have to prove that they can do the reverse sweep. You know, it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out.
How do you as a coach handle that with your team if they've had a situation where it's like, uh-oh, we've been in control and we've let it get away, now we're in that position again?
The important thing in those moments is to step outside of yourself, not get in your own head. It's very easy to get mental about those situations, and so you have to stay in the now. You know, it's not about we have to put this away, we have to come back, we can't get reverse swept again. It's not about those things. It's about these next 5 points, 3 to 5 points. Let's just play well. Let's focus on what's happening across the net and stay in that zone.
Carolina sides out, back within 1. And for a Tar Heel team that's looking to continue to grow and build every single day, as cliche as that may sound, having the opportunity to be right back in this spot and to be able to turn the tables, what a moment that would be for them against a ranked team like this.
No doubt about it. If you can play your best volleyball against quality opponents at the end of the season, that's what every team wants to be doing. And you look at the youth on this Tar Heel team and what that could bode well for the experience down the road. You know, if you look ahead to next year and the next couple of years, matches like this and moments like this, if you can pull it out, can just boost that confidence, and you'll see a much different team down the road.
So many young players out there for Carolina. You've got the veteran Shaftmaster out there, Maria Miggins, also on the floor right now. She's out of eligibility after this season, but so many freshmen and sophomores playing key roles for Mike Schall's team. Shaftmaster. Back set for the aforementioned Miggins, and the FSU block steadily improving today. There's number 7 for the match.
But when you see a team that is picking up their blocking presence, like FSU has the last part of set 2 and into set 3 here, you have to be smart about your offense. You can't reinvent the wheel or do something out of character, but I really think in this moment right now, it would benefit the Tar Heels if they could speed up their offense a bit. Can we get Shaftmaster and Miggins a little quicker set at the pin to ensure that one-on-one look?
Well, they set the middle, FSU ready for it. And Sydney Conley cut shot to put the Noles up 5.
Florida State's doing a great job right now, but if they're not seeing a quality swing, they're transitioning and scoring.
Florida State off to a quick start. No 2 sets.
I think they came out with a really good energy here in set 3. Just, you know, it ratcheted up. It took a notch higher, which they needed, to try to manufacture a little bit of flow and a little bit of swag. And their block has picked up. You know, they're presenting a much better block against North Carolina, and that's paid dividends.
It's allowed FSU to build a 5-point lead and force Mike Schall to take an early timeout. Avery Shaftmaster off the block. Carolina sides out after their timeout.
Yeah, right on cue. You praise the block, and they get tooled right away. So sometimes that happens, but you have to credit Shaftmaster. I think the block was in a good position there, but she is just so fast and crafty in what she can do with the ball. You know, sometimes you can be in the right spot at the right time as a blocker and still get used.
Conley dug up by May. Good dig by the Carolina libero. Back to Shaftmaster off the block. Philomoa, bump set. Conley comes gliding in. Thurman ready for it. Joust at the net. Back row from Koenig, and Shaftmaster a little shaken up.
Yeah, we had a collision under the net when they both landed from that joust, and you know, that's not uncommon in our sport, Matt, where if you've got a joust situation, a tight ball, people want to be aggressive, you want to go up and really redirect strongly, but then you can get tangled underneath. Hopefully she's okay and can walk this off.
Oh yeah, bumped into Sadie Swift there.
And especially, you know, a lot of times it's not the opponent. Sometimes it is, they come under the net when they land from their jump, but a lot of times it's your teammate next to you. You come down on their ankle or their foot, and I'm just glad she's okay.
Yari Roby catches the Tar Heels in a campfire, 10-5.
If they can defend this serve, and I'm using that word specifically, if Carolina can defend this serve, you don't have a libero on the court for Florida State. This is an area where they can side out quickly and maybe get on a run.
Big rejection from the block puts FSU up 6.
Boy, the block, halfway through the second set up until now, has really stepped up their game. The blockers for Florida State, they're making better reads, they're not getting tooled as much, and you're seeing it flip the score.
Roby very solid at the service line. And Thurman sends it long, point FSU. Carolina, Corey believes there was a touch there, or was it in?
Maybe. It looks like Coach Shaw is going to challenge, but you've got some things happening right now for Carolina that you have to do whatever you can to flip the momentum. Right now, everything is going the Seminoles' way. You know, Schaffmaster was just subbed out right before that last point. So we hope that she's okay, maybe getting attended to by the trainer. But when one of your best players isn't on the court, when the other team has all the momentum, you want to do what you can to kind of slow things down. So I'm not surprised by this challenge. And, you know, you might get it overturned. We'll see. Do we see a touch from that look? I didn't see anything definitive, Matt. What did you think?
This is going to be your better angle, I think, here.
Yep.
So does the ball change? I don't see anything definitive.
Yeah, I don't either. As a matter of fact, from that angle, it looked pretty clear that it didn't touch the block from what I could tell. But again, this is just slowing momentum. Even if you don't get the call, it's one tool in the box that Coach Shaw can pull out to kind of slow down the momentum of the Seminoles.
Kind of a bonus timeout. Here it is, super zoomed. And
possibly a micro touch on Lewis, but nothing that I would call definitive.
So Mabry Schaffmaster being attended to by the training staff after that collision at the net. Such a competitor, you have to imagine that she wants to get back in there as quickly as possible if she can get that ankle taped up and it's safe to do so.
Yeah, you want to be on it right away in this situation. If she had a little bit of a tweak, a little bit of an ankle roll, you want to address it right away, get it compressed, don't let it swell, don't let it get tender. You know, the adrenaline can carry you through, especially if you have, you know, another set or two, but that's something to keep an eye on here when she comes back in, is how effective is she going to be jumping, her jump serve. Those things could come into play here.
So this attack from Romani Thurman still being reviewed. Chris Poole, the head coach of the Seminoles, and Romani go way back. Poole was the coach at Arkansas when Romani Thurman's father, Scotty, was playing basketball for the Razorbacks in the 90s.
Had some great teams back then.
Yeah.
NCAA tournament.
Scotty hit a shot to beat Duke, something that endears him automatically to Carolina fans here, long before his daughter suited up.
So there were some Razorback fans in the moment back then?
Exactly.
Yeah, a little surprised that how long this is taking, but if you're Carolina, you're okay with that because it gives Schaffmaster that extra couple of minutes to get treated and hopefully get back on the floor a little sooner. And, you know, again, it slows that momentum. If you're Florida State, you're probably getting a little frustrated at this point because, you know, you're killing me, Smalls. I was rolling, and all of a sudden we had this big stop and play. But coming out of this break, the mindset has to be for Florida State to keep their rhythm, and it starts with their block. Their net presence has really helped them get this separation in the score. They need to be mindful of their transition recovery block, their eye sequencing, and make sure that they keep that pressure at the net. And if you're Carolina, you're not going to race the 7-point deficit in one swing. So you have to be patient, but you have to stay assertive.
And after all of that, the challenge is unsuccessful. Point for Florida State.
Yep. Schaffmaster still being attended to, so she is not on the court.
So no Schaffmaster out there, but Imani Foster is the graduate student transfer from Charlotte. Did not play against Louisville last match, and here is Foster with the swing. Sadie Swift, Carolina's success by setting the middle. Back row attacks and setting the middle. Two ways Carolina has been able to be effective offensively today.
You've nailed it on the head, Matt. Those two offensive weapons have had no response from the Seminoles.
So now it's Foster. Graduated from Charlotte in just 3 years. She has another year of eligibility to play next season. Thurman wide, and got the touch though.
Yeah, she knew right away. She came down a signal touch. It was right in front of the R1, the up official. He made a great call. Instantaneous call, knew right away.
Conley, Zoe Barron had no answer for it.
Well, it's a tough spot for Foster to come in off the bench a little bit cold and get in that serving spot, because Florida State passed both of her serves right on the money and they kept them in system. You want to have good service pressure at this point to try to claw back in it. If Florida State can pass like they have the last couple of points, it's going to be a really tough row to hoe for the Tar Heels.
Swift blocked back. Carolina went to the middle. Florida State covered it.
Yeah, first time they really denied that play set.
Back set from the libero. Snyder touches it, and Carolina contacts it into the antenna. Florida State pulling away.
We've seen a few longer rallies here, Matt, and that's really stressing the recovery block of both teams. So if you're a blocker, you've got to hustle back to the net, get in good posture and good position and be ready. Otherwise, you might be a little sloppy in your technique and get tooled.
Carolina was having more success in the longer rallies first couple of sets, but it's flipped like the score here in set 3.
It has, and it's just a different dimension right now. You know, Foster has played a lot. She's been effective. She hasn't been in that back row position where they've scored a ton. It's been Hampton and Schaffmaster. So if the rally continues and they set a bick or a pipe opportunity, can Foster put the ball away like the other two have?
It's Foster out of the back row. Snyder, flat-footed attack, still yields an FSU point. She was off balance, contacted it weakly. Carolina was unprepared.
Yeah, just one of those awkward plays through the block. You just have to be in good posture and try to react.
So with Rothman serving, Florida State the first of 15 in this third set. FSU needing a reverse sweep to maintain control of their own destiny for the ACC's automatic berth to the NCAA tournament.
Now with Schaffmaster off the court, it's very interesting to see who the servers for Florida State target in serve receive. They have gone after Hampton quite a bit today, but she's held her own. Do they go after Foster, who just came in? There we go.
They do go after Foster. She handles it cleanly and allows Nolan to get a swing out of the middle. Back to Snyder.
Wow, what an up by May.
Carolina can't do anything with it though, and Florida State swells the lead even further. Mike Shaw may need a timeout, and he does take it.
You're seeing two weapons that have been potent for North Carolina off.
Hills hitting nearly 500.
And she's gotten a steady stream of opportunities and a little bit of a mixed bag early, but here late, she's been pretty hot. She's really taken advantage of some sloppy hands from the block by tooling, kind of throwing the balls through like right there. You know, she's just been very smart in how she's gone at the block. So if you're Hampton, really needs someone else to step up. Now, that could be Hampton, that could be Foster, that could be Thurman. It could be a lot of different folks because we've seen all of those players at times this year really step up, right? But with Schaffmaster off of the court, you don't have that automatic kill, per se, card to play. So who's going to step up for the Tar Heels right now?
Out of timeouts, Carolina needs a big comeback. And they'll start with a service error.
And you won't get all these points back at once. That's okay. You just need mini runs and some assertive play.
And Babic to serve for the Tar Heels, sophomore from Phoenix. Philomoa lays out for the dig.
Yep.
Snyder bumps it over. Babic to Nolan. There's the middle again.
And those are the things we talked about earlier, Matt, that when you're playing a team like Florida State, you have to capitalize on your opportunities. When you get free balls in those situations, you have to follow up an aggressive serve with good transition offense. Great job by the Tar Heels.
Tight set. FSU out of system. Koenig. Foster keeps it alive, allows May to get to it. Hampton.
Didn't get all of that one.
And in that all-long sequence, Carolina comes up with the point as the swing from Lewis goes wide.
And that's how you can start to kind of grit your way back into this, Matt. That rally wasn't pretty from North Carolina, but they just kept the ball alive, kept working, and good things happen.
So Florida State calls for time.
Go their way, the Tar Heels, but we're still in control. Let's come out with our best play set out of serve receive here, get a great swing, and see if we can stop this run.
Florida State Forced North Carolina to take both of their timeouts before the Tar Heels even reached 10 points in this set. But now a 3-0 scoring run for Carolina. And the Tar Heels clawing back in set 3, trying to execute a sweep here. Snyder out of the timeout, Doug. And from the back row, Imani Foster.
Boy, that was such a big rip. I think she had that sideline, just over-rotated a little bit. Good look, though.
So Florida State sides out, hitting over 400 in this set, and they come up with an ace.
Boy, that was probably the toughest serve we've seen so far, and what a great time to dial it up for Philomoa. That ball just dying inside, and maybe a little hesitation he was going to take that.
Nolan out of the middle. Carolina sees kill number 10 from Sydney Nolan.
Now, the recipe was upset a little bit in that the middles had been scoring kind of at will. They've been defending it. Florida State has for the last few rallies. That's a good sign for Nolan to get back on track, get a good rhythm.
Speaking of getting back on track and rhythm, Maddie Snyder with her 11th of the day.
Yeah, and it's such a tough spot right now for Carolina because siding out back and forth at this point does nothing. You know, you have to get on a mini run for no other reason to build some momentum and rhythm going into set 4, presumably. But right now, everything's going the way of the Seminoles.
Phelan serving. May digs it, but an overpass. And Florida State's block, their 9th of the match. They're up 9.
I love the work that May put in there. Anytime you have a passer that doesn't overpass, I love her coming in and crashing and, you know, being ready for that overpass dig.
North Carolina out of timeouts. At one juncture, the block number was 4-2 Carolina. The last 7 blocks in this match have gone to Florida State.
Wow. Interesting. So the line judge calling a touch there, but the R1 overruling, saying it went off the tape and not off of hands. Point Carolina.
Maddie May will serve. Low serve. Phelan, back set. Conley, dug by Babick. Foster. Roby out of the middle. Babick with an answer.
Little hesitation there. Net violation?
Yep. Carolina in the net, so a point for Florida State.
You saw a few times in that rally, Matt, that the communication for Carolina just wasn't crisp. It wasn't to the level it needs to be at this point in the match. Something that they really need to address.
Foster blocked. Florida State's closing in on a set 3 win.
Yeah, the block just in the small sample size, last 3 or 4 points has had the number of Foster. They're making great reads on her. She really needs to mix up her shots right now.
It's answered by Phelan, then Philomoa. Bumped over by Koenig. Hampton comes flying in. What an up by Philomoa there. Koenig into the net.
Wow. And that's the recipe for North Carolina with where they are right now, with their personnel, with their rotation. You're not going to get, presumably, that quick score. So you have to extend rallies with gritty defense. Don't let anything easy touch the floor and try to work yourself back into a good rhythm.
Ruffman well strong, no touch. Or yes, she got a touch.
High off the hands. Yeah, and you have to credit Florida State in that when you're in the driver's seat, can you finish? You can't control what the other team does, but you control your play. And when's the last time we've seen an unforced error from them? I can't remember. They're playing clean, assertive volleyball, and that's why the score is what it is.
Ruffman. It's Ruffman from the outside. Conley.
Another long rally, keep working.
And it looks like Carolina was in the net, and Florida State. What a feather in the cap that would be for Chris Poole, especially the way this season began with the injury to the libero Emery Dupes out for the season. As for North Carolina, they have not beaten a ranked team since March of 2021 during the pandemic season when they knocked off Notre Dame here at Carmichael Arena. They've got the opportunity to do that here today.
And great start here to set 4. You just need to serve tough, play good defense. You hear this cliche a lot, but I think it holds water. Control the controllables, right? We can control our service pressure. We can control how aggressive we are on defense. We can control our blocking to a point. So those are areas that the Tar Heels really need to focus on to get a good lead here in set 4.
Koenig equals things up for Florida State.
Boy, and that's one that you hate to see score. Florida State was way out of system. Koenig's about 8 feet off the net, kind of that chop shot. I'm sure May would want another look at that.
Kylene Filimoa, recruited as an outside hitter. She's the one who stepped into the libero role for Florida State. The Tar Heels pulling back ahead here, but Filimoa, not only is she switched to libero, but she's the #3 outside hitter for FSU. And Chris Poole joked, oh my gosh, every single game it feels like I'm crossing my fingers and hoping that nothing happens to any of my outsides, because I don't know what I'm going to do at libero in that circumstance, because she's got to come in and play outside.
Yeah, you definitely do the seance, whatever you need to, burn the incense just to get some good vibes for sure.
Florida State winners of 16 of their last 18. If they make it 17 of 19, it'll be in a reverse sweep fashion. Hampton. Koenig off the block. Schaffmaster keeps it alive, laying out. Back set for Snyder, and her 12th kill ties the set.
It's so deflating for North Carolina that there were some really good swings in that rally. Hampton really impressed me with the swing she was taking. That's probably the 5th or 6th time in the match, Matt, that we've seen Snyder go to that wipe-off shot. If I'm Hampton or the left front blockers for the Tar Heels, I'm going to take a little step out with my block and how I'm lining up and just be in a stronger position to not give up that kind of shot again. And the Seminoles, if you've noticed, they've been going at Schaffmaster here on defense and in serve receive, maybe trying to wear her down or have her test out that ankle. Wouldn't be surprised if they serve at her here.
It's Kenna Phelan, the freshman, who is serving. Go to Hampton instead. Barrett sets Hampton back up. And Safi Hampton with the kill.
Absolutely love that swing from Hampton. We mentioned that if you're starting to feel your team getting on their heels a little bit, right? Florida State has thrown a good punch. They've come back out into this battle. Who's going to step up and who's going to be assertive in that moment? And Hampton's definitely proven that so far here in set 4.
Roby tips it over, and Romani Thurman right there to cover. Heads up play from the freshman.
Yep, those are one of those opportunities you have to cash in on, as Mike Shaw mentioned. If you've got good blocking posture, you're ready for that ball, good sequence, go up and put it down. Great serve.
Koenig will still get a good swing out of it, but a great up by May. Barrett, Schaffmaster with the back row attack.
And the first time they've denied that ball from her.
Florida State stuffed the back row attack and earns a point. How do you block differently on a back row attack, knowing that you have maybe a half second to adjust mentally?
Sure, it's about your prep and your eye sequencing. Once you see that bick or that pipe set go up, you have to be dynamic with your feet, and then you have to delay a little bit, because the further off the net that the ball is set, the more you have to delay as a blocker when timing your jump. But they executed it very well there, and again, the first time we've seen them get a positive block touch off a back row attack this afternoon.
So North Carolina challenging, looking for a net. Florida State, and this is Mike Shaw's second challenge. His first was unsuccessful.
Now this is kind of a crucial moment in the match for both teams. Whoever can get on a mini run first, I think, is going to have the upper hand in this set and perhaps the match, especially if that's Carolina. Right now, we've seen both teams have a little bit of momentum. Carolina came out hot, then Florida State has kind of answered the call. Who can get on a 2 or 3 point run here in the next 5 or 6 points?
Okay, so let's see here. I guess they're saying Koenig in the net on the attack?
Boy, I did not see that. I mean, I think
that's who it'd have to be. No one else is in the vicinity.
Yeah, it's tough to see through the bodies at that angle, but boy, I'm not sure about that one. What a shot, though. You know, if you can go for that 3/4 speed roll to the middle of the court, that scores a ton. So crafty shot there to you know, would-be score, assuming it stands. Yeah, I did not see anything. I didn't see the net really shaking that much. That, you know, in live time, I didn't think anyone was in the net. We'll see what they call. Oh, okay.
There you go.
Call the net. Shows you what happens when I don't have my glasses on.
That's why I'm up here and not in the official stand.
Yeah, Coach Poole looks a little puzzled. That's the kind of look I had a second ago, but obviously the official saw something more definitive than we did and corrected the call. Boy, big swing there for Carolina. If they can capitalize right now, if they can get another point or two and extend this lead, that'll bode well.
Conley, straight up by May. She is having herself an afternoon.
Yes,
Hampton. Back to Koenig, just inside the back corner. Audrey Koenig makes good on her next attempt.
Well, how about that play out of serve receive with Conley running around the pattern, hitting on the right side, May just digging a rocket right in her lap. The Florida State's come out really assertive here. And the jinx.
You're trying your best, Corey.
Well, you know, sometimes it goes that way, but, you know, that last service error aside, Florida State has really come out aggressive. They're trying to get back in and keep that momentum they had at the end of set 3.
Block was ready for the attack from Roby out of the middle. Now to the right side, and Conley. Maria Miggins. What a high IQ veteran play.
Yeah, but it starts with May. How impressive has Maddie May been in the last 4 or 5 rallies? Look at this extension, driving the hips forward, getting under the ball. She's been stealing kills the last 4 or 5 points.
Big leap by Rothman. Schaffmaster was ready for it. Now the Florida State block for the 12th time this afternoon stifles the Tar Heel attack.
I feel like Babick would be better served to set a little quicker tempo to Miggins if she can. It's not a bad decision to go back there. She's hitting pretty well for the match, but anything that's a little higher tempo, the Florida State block has been all over. Back-to-back service errors is not how you're going to get back into this 4th set.
And if you just joined us, Florida State needs to get back in the set because the Seminoles have the opportunity to stay in control of their own destiny for the ACC's regular season championship, the automatic bid to the NCAA tournament. But they need to win today. Otherwise, their path to that regular season title will include a lot of help over the season's final week. North Carolina, meanwhile, last knocked off a ranked team in the spring of 2021 for the 2020 season. Schaffmaster blocked.
And so far, we're not seeing many ill effects for the ankle, which is good. This would be a good point in the match, Matt, to see Carolina go back to the middle. It's been a minute. It bore fruit earlier in the first 2 sets. They've kind of gotten away from their middle offense. Right on cue.
Tar Heels side out. Corey, it's almost like they can hear you. You have a direct line to the Tar Heel coaching staff?
If I had that kind of power, I probably would have won a lot more matches in my time. But, you know, it's if you're used to the game and you're tracking trends, it's not rocket science. It's about execution and focus. And if a team has taken something away that was working and you got away from it, let's go back to it.
Back row attack, that's been working. Tar Heels go back to it and earn a point.
Yeah, you know, Florida State forced you out of rhythm, and they took your back row attack off the table, your middle transition offense off the table for a minute, but it's been a while since you've gone back to those, and so this is a perfect time to see if you can reestablish that rhythm.
Babic will set up Miggins on the right side. FSU out of system. Rothman guides it over, but Babic and Schaffmaster can't handle it cleanly. That's a gift for Florida State.
Oh, exactly right. That was gift wrapped, and Babic knows it. She wants that. Would love to have that play back again. You know, if you're going to play assertive defense and hold your lead here and try to close this thing out, you have to stay aggressive on defense and not let anything easy score. Good pass.
Florida State strong at the net. They're back within 2.
It looked like Schaffmaster changed her mind halfway through her swing, what she was going to do with the ball. Great read on the block there to deny it.
Babic, tight set for Miggins. Back out for Koenig, uses the block to her advantage.
Yeah, Carolina's got to start to be careful here, and if you can't get a quality swing or an aggressive swing on the set, let's get the ball to right back. Let's take their setter out. I'd like to see Miggins, you know, send that ball. She's not going to get a full swing on it. Send it over to the right back. Make the setter play.
3rd service error of the set for Florida State.
Yeah, that's been a little Achilles heel for them to really, it stifled their momentum here in set 4. Every time they get some positive plays, a little bit, you know, shooting yourself in the foot with these service errors. And some of them have not been good errors.
And that graphic tells you all you need to know. 4 service errors in the match, 3 of them this set alone. Koenig off the tape, but couldn't clear it over. And North Carolina back-to-back points.
Yeah, that shot is there. She just dropped her shoulder, hit the ball down a little too early, lost the angle. Carolina's fortunate, though, because Florida State's been passing pretty well on the money, like right there. They've been in system almost every time in serve receive. So for the rest of this set, can North Carolina increase their service pressure? Can they bring more from the service line?
There's the 13th kill for Maddie Snyder.
It is the power of the headband. Point scoring opportunity.
Snyder, and the headband strikes again.
Boy, how impressive has she been today, and just the ways that she scored. We've seen such variety from her attacking. Really good stuff from number 10.
Snyder's got the headband, 14 kills. Roby with the headband and 7 blocks. You may be on to something.
I think we need to go outfit our team now for the headbands. So, Coach Poole, if you're listening, maybe something to think about before the tournament.
Now, the bigger situation would be if we see Coach Poole in a headband. That would be a stretch.
Yeah, that would take it over the top.
Maybe Schaffmaster way over the top with that serve.
Well, you have to wonder at some point, the longer this match goes, is, you know, that ankle's starting to get a little tender. And when you're a jump server, it's all about rhythm and timing. And that's one indicator where you can kind of tell if that's becoming a factor.
Phelan puts it up. Barrett really tight to the net. Sadie Swift couldn't get a good swing on it, right into the block to tie us up.
Well, and one of the nuances of our game, if you're passing really high, and even if it's going to target, it gives the blocker that extra second to line up on an incoming middle that's running their route. If you can pass with a little lower tempo, then it stresses the block a little bit more.
Big swing from Hampton. Her 11th kill.
I just love how she plays, Matt. You know, you don't call her name for a minute, and then she takes a big swing in a big moment. And so far in this set, when North Carolina's needed to side out or they needed to compound points, she's answered the bell.
Safi Hampton, a second-generation Tar Heel. Her mother, Maria Trent, attended medical school at Carolina. It's been her dream school. Got the swing there, but right into the block.
Yeah, that time they were ready for, and that out-of-system read is a little bit easier for blockers. You kind of know where the ball's going. You know, without Shaftmaster being 100%, you have that big option that you can go to.
Nolan puts the Tar Heels back up. We are trading points. Carolina up by 1. The Tar Heels trying to cap off the upset against number 25, Florida State. Delayed 2020 season. Florida State trying to engineer a reverse sweep to stay in first place in the ACC. You look at the hitting percentages this set, nothing pops off the page for either team.
No, both of them have been fairly even in this set, which is reflected in the score. I think Florida State will probably test Shaftmaster a little bit more on defense, playing that middle back role. Can she cover the corners? Does she have that mobility? I wouldn't be surprised to see some line shots or some corner throws.
Out of the media break, Florida State even again. The side out rate is blistering in the last few points.
This is setting up to whoever can get the mini run is going to have the upper hand.
Overpass, dumped over, Florida State on top.
And we've seen that rear its head for both teams in this match. Kind of that tight overpass has come into play a couple of times.
Roby's serve received by Shaftmaster. Babbitt for Nolan. Back set, Conley. Shaftmaster does well to keep it alive. Hampton skying in, great dig. Oh. Hampton heavy, point Florida State.
Boy, and you can't falter for being aggressive in that moment, going high hands, just missed with the execution. But man, the scrappy play from both sides this is why ACC volleyball, this time you see them run some transition middle offense. So far when they've set their middles, it's been at a serve receive. You know, can we run our middle in transition when we get those opportunities and maybe get a couple of quick scores?
So Avery Shaftmaster and the Tar Heels now find themselves on the wrong end of the 17-15 score. Yari Roby serving for Florida State, the Oregon transfer, first year as a Seminole. Safi Hampton has been strong today. What a set.
Amazing.
Kenna Phelan tipped that one back to set up the swing.
Well, and that just tells you, when you've got an athletic setter like this and you're a middle, always transition, always be ready. If you can run that transition offense, it scores so often. That's something you'd like to see Carolina do a little bit more.
Nolan with an answer. Carolina back to the middle, and it works.
And a great set by Babbitt, because when you're off the net, that 5 to 8 foot zone, a lot of times the opposing middle blocker relaxes their hands a little bit. They're anticipating an outside set. So if you can sneak one into the middle, you can score.
Sends Hampton to the service line. Big high set. Double contact maybe? Yep.
Yeah, this is a time where Florida State, you can't get a little wobbly here. You really got to lock in, stay focused, make Carolina play, don't give them any free points. And it's probably what's led to the timeout by Coach Poole.
So Florida State calls for time as Carolina's cut it
in the match. And, you know, if you can shut down the offense of the opposing team with your net presence, it takes the pressure off your backcourt. It just makes everything easier. And you put pressure on the opponent's attackers to have to manufacture some shots that maybe they're not used to hitting or don't like to hit. So blocking presence has been huge for the Noles to make it a little bit more difficult for Florida State to score. I would love to see them again run some more transition middle and get a little bit more balance right here. You know, can we run a little quicker tempo to the right side, or maybe bring the right side in a little bit, give a different look? All of those options are on the table right now for Carolina.
Safi Hampton puts it in play and comes up with an ace out of the timeout.
That's just like they drew it up, you know, during the break there, right?
Second ace for Hampton today.
How impressive is the freshman for Carolina?
What a bright future she's got ahead of her.
Defend this out of system. Good deny block there.
Rothman. And Corey Lewis puts down the overpass.
Yeah, you just have to tip your hat to Corey Lewis in that moment. That's just a great shot in transition. Very difficult to defend that angle. So, okay, you know, we worked hard. We did some positive things. We can't drop our head if we're Carolina. Stay positive, keep working.
Florida State goes up by 2. That's where it gets critical. You got to win the set by 2. Haven't had a particularly close finish to any of our first 3 sets so far today. Nolan dumps it down.
And again, we haven't talked about it for a while, but anything that's tipped or rolled into the front third of the court, Florida State's ball control has not been very good. They've given up a lot of overdigs that have led to point scoring straight away for Carolina.
Well, now I had to go track it down. Rothman will get a swing on it. It's wide. Tar Heels on top.
The last 3 points from the service line, you see Carolina really going after Koenig and serve receive, and she's faltered a little bit.
Service error. Florida State's had 3 big ones this set, now won by the Tar Heels.
Just unfortunate timing. And Nolan was aggressive with that serve, just hit the top of the tape.
So Audrey Rothman to the service line.
Great ball by May.
Schaffmaster, Philamala is there. To Miggins on the right side. Maddie Snyder, heads up play.
Boy, that's when it's so advantageous to just be a little bit taller, have a little more length, just to outstretch the challenging block there.
Schaffmaster, and it's out. Florida State by 2.
Yep, and a timeout by Coach Shaw.
Here at the end of the season with just 1 match to go after this one.
And the margin for error for Florida State right now is razor thin. As you mentioned, on the one side, you could win the conference outright. On the other side, you could drop to 3rd. You know, and boy, that's a big teeter-totter.
And you're in the tournament probably either way, but the chance to stay in Tallahassee, show off a block like that versus go on the road, that's a big deal.
You're spot on, and the way this set is trending right now, just the last 4 or 5 points, the momentum is shifting back to Florida State. Good pass.
Schaffmaster at the cross-court hammer.
The great equalizer. I don't think I've seen her have 2 errors or 2 balls blocked back-to-back. She just makes great adjustments. You might block her once, she might have a hitting error, but she comes right back and attacks the court smartly. Good stuff from number 9.
Barrett puts it up. Snyder denied at the net. Knocked over. Carolina way out of system. Hampton from the back row. Block is there. Schaffmaster. Snyder touched back. Long rally. Koenig's going to get a swing at this.
Oh, wow.
Mabry Schaffmaster.
Wow, I think Coach Poole was going to be upset that there was not a double call.
There was. They called double.
Oh, wow, that was such a late whistle.
They called the double.
And in live time, I was kind of surprised I didn't hear a whistle in the moment. But you watch, you're hustling to the net, you're trying to square and watch the ball come out of the hands, all that spin. And then when you didn't hear the whistle right away, you thought, wow, they're going to let that go. And now the officials are having to explain not necessarily what the call was, but just the delay. I think that's the disappointment, that it wasn't called in real time, seemingly. Maybe we couldn't hear the whistle, but boy, a crucial time for that point to be reversed.
So it's set point for Florida State to force a fifth. Schaffmaster will swing it. It's blocked back. Hampton. And Romani Thurman sends it long. Florida State forces a fifth. Corey, FSU is down.
In set 4 was the unforced errors of Florida State.
Tar Heels will serve it first. Anita Babick putting it in play. Audrey Koenig with a swing. It's just inside the back line. Point Florida State. So now, Corey, let's play psychologist a little bit. Carolina has been reverse swept at home twice this year. How do you, as Mike Shaw and his staff, keep them level-headed in this situation again?
Well, it's becoming tougher the more that Florida State rolls and continues their momentum. But you definitely have to focus on the now, the in-the-moment stuff, the scouting report coming into this 5th set. Right? What do you want to focus on right now for the first 5-6 points of this set, and keep your mind there? If you're not executing, then how can you help your teammates? Can you cover? Can you call shots? Can you have good posture on defense? Those are ways that you can stay in the moment and not get too much in your own head.
Saffie Hampton continues her big afternoon with a 12th kill. And I think Florida State is going to challenge this, it seems.
Yeah, a little curious we're challenging this early in a 1-1 tie.
FSU did carry an extra challenge with them from regulation, and they're challenging a net violation here.
But that proves the point that any kind of small lead or small run is hugely important for both of these teams right now in the 5th set. If you can be up 3-1 or 4-2, that's pretty massive based on how the last set and a half has played out. You know, both teams are using this opportunity as well to kind of, you know, fine-tune a couple of points when they go back on the court.
Carolina and Florida State tied up early on in this 5th set. This is huge for Florida State. The Seminoles need to win today in order to maintain control of their own destiny for the ACC's automatic berth and a share of the ACC regular season championship. FSU would be in sole first place with a win today. If they lose, they need a ton of help. And obviously would need to beat Notre Dame in their season finale next week.
A lot at stake for the Seminoles, to be sure. And a lot on the table for Carolina. As you mentioned, what better way to finish this season than with an upset of a ranked opponent on your home court down the stretch. Point goes the way of Carolina.
So the call stands 1-1.
One of the things Carolina can really focus on here is their blocking. Florida State is last in the conference in the opponent's block, so if they can get their block going here, they can present something that Florida State's not used to seeing, and that's a lot of balls back in their face.
Mabry Schaffmaster, cross-court big swing.
Boy, how many times has Mabry Schaffmaster come up in big moments like she did there? This is when her team needs her, and she is answering the call.
Koenig altering the shot midair down the line. Carolina wasn't ready for it. Saffie Hampton can't play.
Yeah, her last 2 kills have gone back to that 1-6 zone, you know, the high chop shot. She's really testing Hampton there in the backcourt. Smart stuff from Koenig.
And a Phelan to serve. Sydney Nolan out of the middle. Nolan's 15th kill.
And if you're North Carolina, let's get back to that. Let's get our middles going a little bit more. We know Shaftmaster can produce on the outside more often than not, but so does Florida State. Can we get some other player or position involved in the offense to have some balance here and extend our lead even more?
Each team is a freshman with 15 kills. Nolan for Carolina, Maddie Snyder for Florida State. Conley. Libero set for Shaftmaster into the block.
Boy, it was going to be tough the longer that rally went for either team to be successful scoring, because both teams had great block touches. The recovery block was spot on for both teams. Net presence is a high level for both squads right now.
Have a good clean set for Shaftmaster. Goes off speed to score.
The variety of shots in the tool bag for Shaftmaster is so impressive. I mean, just when you think you're getting a read on some of the things she does, she pulls something else out that you haven't seen.
It's now a 20-kill match for Mabry Shaftmaster, hitting near 300.
Great serve. Good pass.
Roby, soft touch. Florida State will get another crack at it. Now Roby brings the hammer. She went soft, then goes hard. Tied at 4.
Now that transition middle offense, we've seen a little bit more of that from Florida State than we have North Carolina. Would love to see the Tar Heels take a page out of the Seminole book and get some middle transition offense.
Dumped over by the setter. Barrett trying to catch the Noles napping.
Yep, got him out of system.
But it still ends in an FSU point.
That's only happened a couple of times in the match, but when it has, it's been at crucial moments. If you're North Carolina, you can't let that ball score. You have to be assertive in that moment.
Barrett sets up Shaftmaster.
A tight set there.
Now Thurman from the outside. Did she get a touch? No, and here is your 2-point lead.
Yeah, and it's been on a little bit of hesitation and unforced errors from North Carolina. They really got to focus back in and stay aggressive here.
Timeout by the Tar Heels. Florida State's trying to engineer the reverse, forcing North Carolina to call timeout. And the Seminoles at the service line. They dropped the first 2 sets. FSU does not have a reverse sweep this season. North Carolina has been reverse swept twice on this floor. A Florida State win puts them in sole first place in the ACC. Mabry Shaftmaster.
Great shot by Shaftmaster, but unfortunate that Koenig couldn't find her footing there and kind of lost her balance. I think she had a good read on that ball to react. But in any regard, point for North Carolina. A little sweeping of the floor. And, you know, at this point in the match, Matt, it's always fascinating. Teams have to be targeting certain players and serve receiver certain zones, because there's enough sample size now that you think you're going to have a leg up if you can get the ball to a certain player or in a certain zone. So tracking the serving targets is really going to be important.
Shaftmaster received by Koenig. Bump to the outside and Rothman. And Audrey Rothman puts FSU right back up by 2.
That's been a shot that's been effective for most of the match from either pin hitter from Florida State, going to that deep 5-6 zone. We've seen a couple of balls read and dug from the Tar Heels, but that ball has scored, that shot has scored quite a bit.
Angelia Droskovic, Serbian setter for Florida State.
Great pass by May.
Out to the middle, and Carolina once again sets the middle with success. Sadie Swift, a huge kill.
Not only was that pass right on the money to target, but it was a little bit lower tempo, and when you can set the middle quick in the middle of the net, that gives some spacing between the blockers that might try to help, so you have more seams to hit into.
Rothman, not touched. It's wide. We're tied.
Yeah, she's kind of shaking her head. I think she wants that swing back. There have been some line shots available for the Seminoles. They've scored a few times hitting that deep line shot, just missed that time.
Lewis deposits it to put FSU back up as the teams will switch sides.
Yeah, being up and through the ball as fast as she is. Look at the length, look at the shoulder load, hitting an angle that's almost impossible to defend. And both teams have been passing fairly well on the whole. Both teams have been able to run their middle offense and serve receive pretty consistently. So which one can get them going in transition, or which one can defend that just 1 or 2 times, right? That's all you need. If you can defend that 1 or 2 times, that could tip the scale here in set 5.
Florida State's top 25, and now in the RPI, they come in 30th. Even with that number 30 RPI that will rise if they can take home the ACC's regular season title. Imagine FSU staying home to start off the NCAA tournament. Sydney Nolan, there's your answer. Back and forth we go.
It's no secret right now what both teams present. If the pass is there, both teams have shown that they're going to set their middle, and both of their middles are being effective. So I'm curious to see, does one team shade their block or pinch their block to maybe help on a good pass?
Service error, unforced mistake.
That's just a tough time for that error to hit. You want to stay aggressive. Just a tough time in that moment.
Roskovich for Snyder. She's been huge today, but can't put it in play. 9-all.
And I'm going to credit Schaffmaster's blocking, because even though she wasn't in the front court at that time, it's got to be a little bit in Snyder's head that she went after the block in the last set at the end, and Schaffmaster shut her down.
Back-to-back service errors.
Boy, this is when adrenaline and, you know, some extra juice might be flowing for Carolina. They take a deep breath. Stay calm but assertive here, because those back-to-back errors can start to compound if you don't.
And a feeling FSU serving and trying to go up to Nolan. No touch, wide.
Boy, and notice there was a triple block on that, Matt. So we mentioned which team was going to start to adjust their blocking scheme based on the effectiveness of the other team's middles. And Florida State answered that question. So now if you're North Carolina and you just saw that look, you know that the blockers are going to pinch on a middle on a good pass. I think you probably go outside to Schaffmaster and maybe try to get Nolan in transition, but we'll see what they do out of serve receive here.
So Mike Schall is using the extra challenge given to him for a 5th set to challenge whether or not there was a touch. There is no touch as the initial ruling, but let's see here. What'd you see, Corey?
That's so tough. Maybe a micro touch. I did not see a finger bent back or look displaced, and I didn't see the rotation on the ball change that much. So again, nothing definitive, but at this moment, as crucial as this, you know, series is right now, the difference between 11-9 or 10-all is huge. So I think you have to take this challenge, but I'm not sure I saw enough in what we just saw from that angle to be definitive.
And in essence, it's also a free timeout.
Correct. Yeah, it's an opportunity to talk about a couple of points or a couple of things you want to focus on coming out of this little break, but maybe from this angle, do we see anything different?
I don't think so.
It's just so fast. I think it's really difficult. Let's see what the call is here.
Point FSU.
Okay, so here's where we're at. If you're North Carolina, that didn't go your way, okay. But what do we drop offensively here is going to be pretty fascinating. And if you're Florida State, who do you target and serve receive? Who you're going to go at right now with the ball to try to get North Carolina out of system?
Schaffmaster, Carolina, sides out.
Now, I'm not sure I would serve at Maddie May, whether it's the first point of the match or deep into the 5th set, because she can make you pay 100%. Credit Nolan for holding the block and creating that seam for Schaffmaster.
Now it's the Tar Heels trying to tie. Schaffmaster punches it over.
Wow, Seminoles calling for a net violation. Not getting it.
Miggins off the free ball. For the moment, it's tied. Will FSU challenge for the net? They will. Chris Poole's already reached for the card.
Yep, and if you can read lips, it looks like Sadie Swift said she was in the net.
Oh, boy.
So, boy, that's, you know, sometimes, you know, players play it off, you know, like, oh, no net, no net. But if you're a lip reader, I think, yep.
Yeah,
that's pretty
you
clear.
Can see it. Yep.
I think this will be Seminole point, and boy, just unfortunate because you want to block that ball so bad. You want to make that extra play here to help your team. And sometimes when you're being overly aggressive as a blocker, you can get too tight to the net, not keep your spacing, and then it's easier to get in the net on your way down.
Chris Poole and Florida State dropped the first 2 sets. Trying to make their way back. It is a net violation on Sadie Swift. Point Florida State, and the Noles 3 points away from taking sole possession of first in the ACC.
North Carolina has been pretty solid in serve receive, so the one thing that you have to focus on is this first contact. The rest of it you need to put out of your mind. Let's just give our setter an opportunity to run the offense and make sure we don't get aced.
Timeout Carolina, so Mike Shaw calls his second timeout. So now if you're Carolina, you
give North Carolina any breathing room.
Florida State had 3 service errors in the course of the 4th set. They still won it to force this 5th. Andre Koenig is the server for FSU.
Now, I would be shocked if Koenig goes after May. She's been pinpoint all day. Does she go after Schaffmaster or Hampton?
The answer is Hampton. Swift out of the middle, block back. Carolina will get another crack at it. It's Schaffmaster, and Carolina sides out.
And that kill is the result of the craftiness of Schaffmaster. That ball was set high in transition. She had to slow down her rhythm a little bit, kind of a hop stutter, and still comes up with the kill. Boy, great stuff from number 9, and desperately needed in that moment.
Zoe Barrett, the freshman, serves. Mauer receives, tipped over by Roby, and Carolina was in the net again. Swift again. Wow.
Boy, just a tough thing for Sadie Swift. She's trying to be aggressive. She's trying to make a play for her team. Tough spot.
Schaffmaster, cross court, off speed, keeping the Tar Heels in it. Holy cow.
Have you seen many other players that can just manufacture kills the way that she can? I mean, left-handed, off balance, finding the open spot on the floor. Pretty amazing stuff.
Now she'll serve to try and tie. Rothman dug up by May.
We need this opportunity for
Hampton.
the Tar Heels.
Safi Hampton wide. Florida State match point.
She was in good rhythm, just didn't get a great hand contact on the ball. She's frustrated with herself. She knows that one got away from her. The defense is there. You're battling. You just got to focus on this point right here. Let's get to 13. Good pass.
Swift blocked by Lewis. Florida State alone in first in the ACC.
Oh my, what a match between these two conference foes. What a battle. And